Well, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has raised questions over civil defense here in Germany. The government is working to increase the number of bunkers available to protect the population if the country comes under attack. Existing shelters could only house a tiny fraction of any targeted population.
In the event of war, this is where the German public can seek shelter. The country's few operational bunkers offer room for up to 480,000 people, less than 1% of the population.
At the moment, we are actually in a poor position. There is a lack of both structural infrastructure and awareness among the population of what can actually happen in an emergency.
The reason for the current debate, the latest threat from Russia. Following the firing of a new medium-range missile at the Ukrainian city of Dnipro, President Vladimir Putin threatened supporters of Ukraine with possible missile attacks. Ever since the start of the war in Ukraine, German authorities have been working on a national bunker plan.
I can roughly outline the points that are included. The most systematic possible recording of buildings and private properties that can be used as public safe havens. These could be underground car parks, subway stations, and basements.
All of this data will be transferred to an app that enables citizens to determine their nearest place of refuge, a digital approach that not everyone agrees with.
I need ways of continuing to communicate with people in analog form, because we know how quickly the internet can fail, if the power goes out, for example.
Since the end of the Cold War, a general sense of security has grown in Germany. Up until 2007, there were still 2,000 public shelters. The German government at the time even decided to dismantle and sell off some of them. Bunkers became museums and chic hotels. An increasing number of private individuals are now thinking about building their own bunkers.
It's nice to have a bunker in my garden at home when the air raid happens on Sundays. But what do I do when I'm at work at 10 a.m. on a Monday, where I first commute to for an hour and a half?
Without a clear time frame, the national shelter concept remains a project waiting to be addressed at some point, probably under a new federal government.
Well, for more on this, we can speak to Dominik Kudlacek. He's a security analyst at the University of Bremerhaven here in Germany. Welcome, Dominik. So tell us, can Germany protect its population in the event of an attack?
Good morning. This question is very tricky to answer. The question is what kind of attack? If we are talking about an airstrike, for example, a massive airstrike, Germany can protect. By the way, neither could France, the United Kingdom, even the United States wouldn't be able to protect their population in kind of a massive nuclear airstrike. The situation in Germany has become a little bit better because this topic comes into news. For years and decades, as we have seen in the report, it was about cutting down the resources and the infrastructure in order to save money. So this has changed now. Nevertheless, I think it's a general question. Do we really want to invest so much into the situation after a strike? Or wouldn't it be better to avoid that the strike happens at all?
Well, what about private initiatives? So, individuals building their own personal bunkers. Do you think this is a good idea, or could that actually complicate an overall national response?
I don't feel that it will complicate it. I just wonder what they would do when they come up from their private bunkers and the world has completely changed. So I think it gives them a feeling of protection, but it won't protect them because how much food will you store there? Maybe for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks, and then you come up and the world is burned over you, so over your private bunker. So it won't complicate the situation. I think it gives us a wrong feeling of security. And it's good that we have a look. What can we do now with the existing resources by investing a small amount of money? But all the conflicts that we have seen in your show so far, Syria, Palestine, all these conflicts are interrelated. And the warfare that we are facing currently against Russia is a hybrid one. So I don't feel that we need to protect from massive nuclear airstrikes. And I think we could use the existing money for other projects much more efficient than instead of building bunkers for the day after the Third World War.
That was Dominik Kudlaczyk, a security analyst from the University of Bremerhaven. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, let's get more on this from DW political correspondent Simon Young. Simon, can you tell us how great the threat of an attack on Germany actually is, according to the government?
Well, Gerhard, it's pretty clear the threat level has increased as a result of Russia's aggression against Ukraine, and particularly the sort of comments that Vladimir Putin was making last week, saying that the war in Ukraine has the character of a global war, and he wasn't ruling out attacks against the West, and has repeatedly made threats against NATO. So, is all that just saber rattling? Well, perhaps it is for now, but who knows how the global security situation is going to develop over the next few years. Germany's intelligence chiefs were saying just last month that Russia may be capable of carrying out an attack against a NATO member country by 2030. So, it does seem a sensible precaution to look now at what defences Germany has and to possibly beef up civil defence if possible.
Now, we heard in our report that there are currently only bunker capacities for less than 1% of the population in Germany. Why so few?
Yeah, as Germany currently has 579 working bunkers. That's space for 480,000 people. The total population, of course, is 83 million. And the number has fallen in recent years, as was mentioned in the report. I think since the 1990s, the end of the Cold War, there was a feeling that the likelihood of a direct military confrontation or an attack against Germany, had fallen. So a lot of these places were either not maintained or they were sold off, converted to other uses, museums, and in some cases even into homes. So, I think it was felt they weren't really needed.
Now, Finland, that's a country that shares a border with Russia, is said to have bunkers for almost all of its 5.5 million inhabitants. Does that mean that other countries just invest more in civil defence than Germany?
Some of them do. Finland particularly, it's obviously got a long border with Russia. It feels the threat from there, I think, quite keenly. And I believe the Finnish capital, Helsinki, has got, in fact, bunker space for more people than its own population. Switzerland famously has many bunkers. They were mandatory to be included in homes built. Most homes are built after the Second World War. Poland has announced similar plans to what's being discussed here in Germany as well, and also is thinking of introducing a requirement for new built homes to at least plan, bunkers and shelters to be part of this. So I think many countries are now reviewing what they can do and making sure that they have at least some shelter in the case of an emergency or an attack.
Simon Young there, thank you very much.